Do you keep killing houseplants? It's okay. I'm here to help you, and it's a lot easier than it seems, I promise. So the first thing I want to go over is watering. The number one reason plants die is due to overwatering, and it's not about how much water goes in the plant, it's how often. 90% of my plants, I don't water them unless they're bone dry, like all the way to the bottom. You're gonna wanna get a moisture meter. This thing has saved so many of my plants. I guarantee you if I didn't have this, I wouldn't have as many plants. We do sell these in our shop, but you can get them anywhere, Amazon, your local nursery, but they are so helpful. And some people like to leave it in the plant, but I do suggest poking around in different areas because wherever you put it will dry out faster. Let me show you on this Scindapsus right here. So the soil, it looks dry, right? Sounds dry, but if you go all the way to the bottom of the roots, see how it's changing? This plant does not need any water. I would probably go another week and I wait until it's all the way in the red on dry. I do that with 90% of my plants, and that's how I keep them happy. I think I said this already, but it does not matter how much water you put into the plant. You could put in a whole gallon of water, it'll be fine, but you don't want a plant sitting in water, like the bottom of it, because it will cause root rot. When you do water, you want to see water come out of the pot if you are watering from the top. If you're watering from the bottom, I like to let it sit for like 30 minutes, and then the pot should feel like a lot heavier. Lighting can be complicated, especially if you're a new plant parent. A lot of people think that plants want sun, and that's not the case with a lot of them. They just want to be in a bright room like the one I'm in. And I know that term is kind of confusing, but just think of a bright room with light coming in, but no direct contact. And lastly, I want to go over soil. Soil can be another difficult thing, especially if you're a new plant parent. Whenever I pick a plant out at the nursery, I like to go for like the lightest one so that I can let it dry out and I can repot it on my own. If the plant is like super heavy, the chances of it having root rot is super high in my experience. So I like to go for light feeling pots. When you do decide to repot your plant, I always tell people to use chunky soil. So that means any potting mix, and you need something to aerate the soil. So that could be leca, it could be orchid bark, perlite. I've seen people use sand. You just need something that's gonna aerate the soil. You want something that's gonna be faster draining so it's not all compacted. Because if you just use potting mix, it's just gonna be like compacted unless it already has components in there that is aerating the soil. I like to use orchid bark and perlite along with regular potting mix. A way that you can tell if your soil is too dense is if you're watering from the top. And if you go like this, if it's like soupy, that means it's not going through the soil fast enough and it's just gonna cause you problems. So you want something that's gonna go throughout the pot. I think that's it for basic plant care. I'm not gonna go into fertilizing today because it's honestly not important for beginners. I didn't fertilize my plants for probably the first couple years that I was in the plant, so don't worry about that. Just give it water and good soil and good lighting. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments and let me know what you want to learn next.